Alright, Jason Rona here. We're in the J Concepts Garage for another video blog episode. We're here with Fred Reap. Fred, we wanted to talk a little bit today about the Monster Truck Hall of Fame event, something that you were a part of with Jeff Cook, putting on an event for the RC trucks at the 1-to-1 event. And we got a couple trucks that in the actual studio here that we had at the event. But tell us how this RC Monster Truck show became a thing here.
Yeah, every year when they have the induction ceremony, they have the day before they'll set up a display and a meet and greet with everybody, and they've been doing the monster truck theme every year with the RC monster trucks, kind of like with the retro trucks, which you would see here, like the Virginia Giant of Dan Wyatt. This year he wanted to put on a little bit more of a show with them, trying to get more interest, and I think we did a really good job. I kind of helped him out with it. Matt Stoltz, he helped us out as well, and a lot of guys behind the scenes that helped bring it all together. But we made sort of a bit of a production with it, with the freestyle and the retro trucks, and it really seemed to get the crowd interested.
Yeah, I mean, it was really kind of unique because he took a little bit of a different direction with the program, but he wanted to appeal to some spectators, which they brought in some spectators.
Right.
And there was a lot of people there for our RC guys watching, and we had a little condensed program with retro racing and then freestyle, and everybody had kind of matching clothing, and it was really kind of interesting to have an RC event like that, taking place at a real event. But how did you think that it came off, and what did you like about the racing and then the freestyle part of it?
Yeah, Jeff, he pulled out all the stops as far as getting everybody matching shirts, and everything looked really uniform, made it really a show for the crowd there. And it went really well. We got the retro trucks. We had a set number of drivers there, hand selected from Jeff. He's been to a few of these events and seen some of these guys run, and he wanted them to come on out. And again, with our timing system, we brought up there, we've helped set up a full-scale mini arena.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for racing and then for freestyle, the crowd, they like the racing, but everybody loves the antics that happens in a freestyle.
And we had to pry this truck out of Dan's arms and
Yeah.
hands and everything. This was his baby at the event,
Mm-hmm.
the Virginia Giant. He wanted to base this truck off of a retro,
Mm-hmm.
and and he wanted to race it, and he raced it, and he spent many hours. I don't know how many hours on this truck, but basically, he wanted to start with our '89 Ford body. But tell us a little bit about what talking to Dan. I know you talked to him a lot while he was working on this, and what did you think he did here, and what is all entails in this?
Yeah, he was really hyped up about this project, and he wanted to keep it under wraps. I see a couple of my parts on here, Dan, but anyway, yeah, he really wanted to pull out the stops. It seems like every event he goes to, he wants to have that showstopper type
Mm-hmm.
unveil project. And this one here, there's a lot of goodies on it. Visually, you see the wheels on the truck. These are a prototype set of aluminum wheels that we did, and I actually was working on the project, and we drew them up, a two-piece full aluminum monster truck wheel. I mean, these things are bolted together, 40 screws a piece each, just like the real one, and they came out fantastic. We sent the wheels up to him. They were in, just a regular aluminum look, and he went and put the fine polish on it, and they just came out fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like to me like he really based this truck around these polished wheels.
Mm-hmm.
He went in and he took the stock clod chassis. He painted it. He added pinstriping.
Yep.
He's got aluminum ladder bars on here, anodized, and then he went back and painted over the top some black areas on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got so much detail in this truck, and the chassis and the gearboxes, and then he went in and he's got lighting on this truck too, right?
Yeah, he went in. He has the lighting in the Giant on the bumper, and then the lighting on the roll bar. He has our Shapeways roll bar at that. Our vertical and injection air cleaners in there for the engine. And yeah, if you just go over this thing, I even have to go over it a couple times in my head just to see, upgraded gear cases. It's just, he pulled out all the stops on this project.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really want anybody to see it till it was finished, and we were. It was really nice when he did get it out there, and a lot of people don't like to drive these things, and he raced it in the retro class, and he didn't just roll it. He went for the win, which was really neat that he did that with the truck. And another thing I noticed when he was building this is got Team Associated shocks on it. All the way around, which is their big bore shocks, and it's a little tough to tell because he took the anodizing off them.
Yeah, he took the anodizing off and polished them up. I mean, he has his work in there with the polisher. I mean, it's just every bolt, nut, screw is polished on the thing. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and I think part of that is because when this truck was, the real truck in its day was a showstopper, right?
Yeah, I mean, Deal Wilson, both him and his crew, just fantastic. I mean, the thing was a showpiece every time the truck went out. I mean, if they even broke it, the next event you couldn't tell. I mean, it was like brand new.
Yeah. So, I mean, with Dan's truck here, I mean, he kind of went through and built this thing, and we've been holding on to it now for a couple weeks, and he tells us that he forgot that he even has this truck.
Oh,
but,
wow.
Okay. Maybe we'll just keep it here.
That's fine.
Long term. But we put a little bit more pressure on Dan. Because he was doing some painting. We asked him to paint us a Taurus body because there was a little surprise going on at the Hall of Fame. They were going to do. They restored the original Taurus racer truck, and we thought it'd be a great time to paint up our Snoop Nose body, that truck was so famous with that body on there, and Dan painted up a Taurus body for our truck, our race truck, and we mounted it up there, and we got the Wilmans to sign it. They were present, and what'd you think of how the Taurus turned out?
Yeah, Dan didn't have too much to do on the Giant, so we had to give him a couple more projects. And yes, the Taurus, it was under wraps. It was a big secret. Mike Vauders and crew, unbelievable. Every year it seems like now they're looking to find a project truck, and it was Taurus 3 this year. Absolute secret. Nobody knew about it. Only a select few, and I don't know. Maybe Dan kind of knew a couple little secrets here, but pulling out a Taurus of this magnitude, it's all paint. So if you look closely at this body, Dan took the time and painted this thing out, and it's just as gorgeous as the real truck.
So, going back to the Hall of Fame itself, we did the RC program, we did the race, the freestyle went over really well. We had the inductees for the actual event,
right?
Which, one of them we talked about earlier, which was Mike Galloway. We had Seth Dalton, Jim Reese, and then we had Gary Cook.
Yeah, Gary Cook was there. Again, the inductees, just Jeff Boehner. He had the Jeep there on display.
Yeah, the Hot Stuff Jeep.
The Hot Stuff Jeep. It was just, it was a really good event. A lot of trucks at the, you never know. Each year, another truck shows up. We had the Showtime truck there. It was just, it was amazing.
Yeah, I think every year it seems like they're either bringing in more trucks to show during this event because they have, a nice crowd on hand that are there to experience some fun times with the older generation. We got some guys that brought out some memorabilia. You were one of them. You brought some of your keepsakes, your memorabilia, and talk about that part of the event and where people kind of bring things that they've collected over the years.
Yeah, it's really nice. And another thing that you're seeing is a newer generation that's actually trying and going back and watching the YouTube videos and actually doing a little more research and finding out how great these trucks were and are, and the evolution that it took to make the sport what it is. And it's nice seeing these guys that are going back and collecting and bidding on eBay and wherever they can find some of this stuff, and they'll bring them out. Jeff Cook has set aside an area for these guys to display their collections, and people can come around and talk. And even drivers and owners that come around, they see things on these guys' table that they don't even remember that they had from back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, even you had a couple of those things, stuff that you made yourself.
Yeah,
And
things I made for myself, for my RCs, and
yeah, and guys come by, and we got Everett Jasmer from USA1. He stopped by our area. He
mhm.
saw our detailed out body, and a lot of things that were really kind of neat and interesting that people didn't see, but they were really attracted to the RC side of it, right?
Yeah, they like the RC. Again, signing the USA1 box. We had the original Kyosho Nitro box, and
Mm-hmm.
he was nice enough to sign it. I did a little mini Jim Kramer figure, scale size figure that would sit in the truck, and Jim Kramer came over and he loved that little thing. And
Yeah.
just little bits and pieces of that history that people kind of forget about or didn't even know existed.
So moving down the road here, what events do you have coming up that you might be attending, and what's it looking like for this Hall of Fame event for next year?
Yeah, Hall of Fame event. We don't know until they put out the ballots, and we see who's going to get nominated for next year. So that's always interesting, and kind of we put that on the back burner until later on in the year and think about that. Again, we're setting our sights on now. It looks like a Vegas World Finals again, maybe this year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll be out there, and they're going to bring our A game on for that and put a nice show on for the crowd. And again, our whole World's Tour again, World's Tour 3 probably.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot coming up. We're just getting the calendar ready and ready to fill in the spots.
All right. Well, thanks, Fred, and great job out there at the Hall of Fame. We know you had a good.
Thanks. Good job to you.
You had a good
You took the
freestyle
first
run.
place win in racing.
I was able to get the racing
Yeah.
win in retro, and you ran so well in in the freestyle. Thanks to Dan Wyatt and the whole RC Performance team that Jeff Cook put together. Everybody worked well together, and everybody put on a nice show. And it wasn't just about one individual guy. Everybody put on a nice little show, and kind of I think we kind of captured what Jeff was hoping for there that weekend, and really kind of turning some people on to RC. And we appreciate everybody for joining us here for another vlog episode. And we'll be back again for some more racing information and some action products.
Yeah.
But until then, thanks, Fred, once again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you, and thanks for watching.
Stay tuned.